So I grew up on a farm, so I'm going to use a farming analogy here. When you are in a season of planting, and after I sold my last company, I went through about a year and a half where no one really saw me. I was planting roots. I had moved a lot because of COVID. I wanted to find love again. I wanted to build community. When you are growing roots, no one is seeing the pretty bloom and flower. But what happens is you are creating this really solid, stable foundation. And so that when you are ready to go build something or do something beyond the home life, you can now bloom in this other way. And both are necessary. Both are necessary. And so let me talk about hustle for a second, because I think a lot of people are like, wait, Amanda, aren't you like the anti-hustle person? That's why my book is called Toxic Grit. But hustle inherently is not bad. It's when hustle is seen as a lifestyle, not part of a life cycle. Look, I have a book coming out. I am hustling for the next 3 months. And yet I know that that is a season of my life. I think that anything in perpetuity is bad. Anything in constant is bad. If you don't get breaks as a mom, you break down. If you don't take breaks in the hustle world, you break down. So it's all about riding kind of the waves of life. Something that I would challenge everybody listening. What if you thought about the role of being a mom with its own knob? Today, I'm going to max out and I am going to really be present for my kids, and I am shutting my laptop at 3. I'm doing school pickups. I'm taking, Lincoln to gymnastics, full volume. But what would it look like if motherhood on a day was a 6 or a 7? And I like to challenge women, especially in my coaching sessions. What would it look like if you let it go to 0 for one day? What would that look like? And how would that feel? And what stirs up for you? What guilt and what shame? Because when I became a co-parent, and this is the thing that I wish somebody would have told me 10 years ago, the idea of co-parenting shouldn't be relinquished to just divorced people. So right now, I have my kids 50% of the time. When they're with their dad now, I have no control over what happens to them. And I kind of wish I would have adopted a little bit more of that volume button and allowed other people to step in and say, hey, if you've got to focus on work for today, go all in. We've got this. Allow someone to take that cognitive load. Look, Eve Rodsky talks about this in Fair Play, where her and her husband, she would take Saturdays, he would take Sundays. The thing I love about Eve is she's talking about it ahead of divorce, right? How can we as a couple navigate the cognitive load that is happening? I would just challenge that volume button that we use for hustle to maybe see what it would feel like if you applied it to motherhood. The whole phrase, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person in the room, give it to the mom in the room, right? Is so real. And when I became a single mom with 3 kids, I couldn't handle triangulation, and systems became so important. I believe micromanagers are just poor system creators. You shouldn't have to micromanage if you've created a system where people have context and nuance to why their job matters and how it ladders up to goals, and what your expectations of them are, and the communication channels and all of that. So I think you become really, really dialed into systems and processes so that everyone can keep moving in the same direction without constant touch points. And I kind of think the answer feels similarly. Being a leader in different organizations and being a mom, I have learned the power of trusting people and trusting my kids. Let's talk about micromanaging for a second. When I became a single mom, the biggest thing that had to change was I couldn't handle, especially once the kids were kind of in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and they started having real homework. I said, guys, Mommy has a full-time job. You have a full-time job. It's school. I can't do both jobs. So you have to stay on top of what your schoolwork is and then ask me for help when you need it. I'm here. I'm always here. If you don't understand something, I've got you. I will sit down. But you've got to know what work you have to do. And now I will say, like, all three kids are really great students. They come home, they get their homework done. They know what they need to do because we've established these rhythms and like systems to say, this is your job. Here's what I expect of you. How can we set you up for success? But I will say, like, one of the things I'm most proud of, but I think it was a byproduct of necessity, is the kids are really incredibly independent when it comes to staying on top of their work, because I can't look at 3 class dojos, 3 WhatsApp groups, 3 sets of emails from teachers. I can't do it. If you miss something, that's because you didn't write it down in your agenda. I know your teachers are telling you this. So, and I think the wrapper to a lot of this is trust. Trusting that someone can try to do it and they may fail. My kids have forgotten a homework assignment, and then they go to school and they're like, I forgot that the teacher told me to do that because I came home, and instead of doing the system that we have, which is straight to the dining room table, you get a snack, you do your homework, then it's free time. They forgot, they got distracted by something, and they felt that like, oh, I didn't stick to the system, thus I missed this. I'm an empath. I feel that same guilt when they miss something, but also the next day, guess what they do? They come straight home, sit down, do their homework. So failure is such a part of life that allowing and trusting your employees and your kids to see what it looks like when, oh, I didn't do this, like, okay, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna do this better next time, or I'm gonna do it differently. So I think that it's the trusting that they are fully able to handle the failure, the emotional part of failure, be there to support them, and then continue to like reiterate the power of those like routines and systems. When I think about social media, I think that there are 2 paths social media can take in your life. It can be a tool to accomplish a goal, or it can be a numbing mechanism. And a goal doesn't have to be work related. A goal could be, I care about this mission or philanthropy or something local. I care about this in my community. And you want to use social media to be a part of something. And so when I think about authenticity and building in public for moms in general, I think it's a very slippery slope. It's slippery for me too. I'm not sitting over here saying I've got this all figured out, but using social media not as a distraction and numbing mechanism because you've been with your kids all day and you're like, I just need a break. I just want to go sit in a corner and scroll. But really thinking about, what am I learning about my experience today that I think could maybe help someone? Whether you spent the whole day chasing toddlers and picking up and changing diapers, and you're like, there is nothing that feels glamorous or shiny about this. Those are the posts and the things that bring humanity to the social media kind of like facade that we see so much of. And so you don't have to have a goal of trying to build a social media following. It can just be like, I just want to feel connection to other people who are in the same stage of life.